It is imperative in this day and age right now that we know what's going on with our kids.
Fentanyl kills over 100,000 Americans each year. This synthetic opioid is 100 times stronger than morphine and 50 times stronger than heroin.
The higher you get a person for less money, then you got repeat customers.
Many of its victims don't even know what hit them
I didn't understand that fentanyl was in the pills
until it's too late,
Jaden doesn't want to be in that box. That's not ever what he wanted.
leaving a trail of tears and empty seats.
Because he should be here. There's no reason why he should be gone.
This family lost their beloved son to fentanyl
He was loved.
on Valentine's Day. Mandate special report. Fentanyl family crisis.
Last year on Valentine's Day, sadly, you lost Jaden to the biggest epidemic, fentanyl.
Yes.
It's wiping out all these great people that otherwise would be here with us,
Yep.
and you're experiencing that right now.
Yes.
And this epidemic is, it's just heartbreaking, and we have to let people know what families are going through. Maybe you can offer some insight.
Yeah, we have a little bit.
But first, let's talk about Jaden.
Yeah.
I want to get to know Jaden.
He had said one time that he wanted to be a comedian. He was funny.
Yeah.
He loved to dance, but he couldn't dance. He was a horrible dancer.
Oh my goodness.
But he loved to dance.
Yeah.
Had the kindest heart. I mean, already get. He was very loving. I think I got it back. Sorry.
I want to thank both of you for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
This issue is so important, and for you to be here is really letting others know what this does to families. People think that this is not going to happen to me,
Oh yeah.
and it could, and they don't realize that this could happen in an instant. Sherrod, you're an ex-NFL player for the Cleveland Browns, right? And now you're a Charlotte firefighter. You're very successful. Jennifer, you have a very successful real estate business. You're a real estate broker. You guys are hands-on with your kids. This is a situation that you just wouldn't think would happen to you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
People need to understand that they are not immune.
Being open, honest with your kids, not saying my kid would never, because I did that with Jaden. It's not that I didn't think he would never. I just trusted him. We've
Right.
had many conversations. If he tells me he's not doing something, I believe him. It is imperative in this day and age right now that we know what's going on with our kids.
One of the best Thanksgiving gifts. My brother's back.
What's good?
My brother's back. Let's go.
He just had a way with people in general. Like he would walk in and we'd all be like, woo! And you just can't help it. It was like he had this energy about him that was crazy.
Receptive! You got God receptive! You accepted!
Always happy. Very rarely saw him sad. Loved baseball. He was a baseball player. He was really good at it. Lots of home runs. We thought that would probably take him through college. So he was just an all-around crazy kid. He was 6'6", really tall.
Yeah.
I really have nothing negative to say. He was extra loud. That would probably and he
It was really, really loud.
really loud. Like if the babies were asleep and he'd come in the house, I'm like, shh.
I want you to see me live beat Sherrod up.
A ball of energy.
Yeah.
And fun and happiness. That's how I would explain him.
One of my favorite things that I saw was a picture that you had put on the internet, you put on your Facebook page, that was of Jaden's, it held up a sign that said, "I beat my mom at Monopoly."
I beat him in Monopoly.
Oh, that's right. That's
yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. I
That's
made
right.
him
I'm
hold
sorry.
the sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about that picture.
We were playing a family game of Monopoly, and he swore he was going to win, and so we made a bet. I won, and he had to get his hair cut.
Aw.
And also hold a sign that said, "My mom beat me in Monopoly." But there's a lot of things like that. Like we're a family of fun.
Yes.
Like we really enjoy our family. We enjoy our family time. We enjoy everybody being together.
Yeah.
That was important to me. I know him as well. when we combine families to have fun, have a good time. We talk about anything. There was nothing that we couldn't talk about. I feel like families, there's a lot of taboo topics in
Right.
families, and we didn't have that.
And you mentioned to me that you had talked about drugs
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and the dangers.
Yeah.
What all had you said to him?
Well, I didn't know anything about pills, but I grew up in the DARE,
Right, the
Time-
DARE program.
yeah, the DARE,
Yes.
just say no, this is your brain on drugs, any questions type,
Right.
But we did talk about it. But I didn't know anything about fentanyl. I didn't know that was an issue. What is this? I don't even know what we're dealing with.
When did you start to notice something different?
What's interesting is I noticed things, but unfortunately, the picture wasn't clear until after he passed. I would
Yeah.
make excuses.
Right.
So there was times like he came to our house and he was stutter stepping. He was walking and kind of stutter stepping, and I'm like, what's the matter with you? And he's like, nothing, Mom, nothing, I'm fine. But you're walking like you're drunk, but he wasn't drunk.
Right.
So I didn't really know what that was. I didn't know what was going on. At one point he had a broken wrist. Was it a
Yeah.
wrist? He had sprained his ankle. There was a number of things, and he had fallen. It was just little things like that I noticed, like, okay, well, what's going on? Why do you keep falling? And then I learned that with fentanyl, you lose your balance, you pass out, you fall, you break bones. And it was a very slow progression. It wasn't immediately. It wasn't like things just changed overnight. It was slow. And I would say a 2-year period. He went from a really happy, bubbly person to mood swings. Then I found out that fentanyl depletes your system of dopamine. And so he just was not a happy person because he couldn't be. But I had no idea still at that time that it was a fentanyl, Xanax, Percocets. I had no idea. And I had no idea that fentanyl was in those pills.
On the day he passed.
Yeah.
Tell us about that day.
He lived alone. Now we know that he was struggling. We know that he was struggling with addiction. He was trying to get clean and not take pills anymore. It was Valentine's Day weekend, so we had decided to take a trip to Greenville, South Carolina.
So you weren't far.
No, we weren't far at all. He had texted me, asked me if I was awake Friday night. I woke up the next morning. I was like, oh, Jaden texted me. So that was Saturday morning, and I was trying to call him back. I texted him back, and he didn't respond, and usually he responds to me right away. I told Sherrod, I said, something doesn't seem right. I kept calling, and then his phone went dead.
Oh, no.
And his phone was never dead. Kids these days always have their phone on them, and he would not let his phone die. I said, something wrong.
We had to go through different avenues to get someone.
It was very difficult.
To get into his apartment. Then I made a phone call to my chief, and he got in contact with Pineville Fire Department. Without a warrant, they just don't knock down doors. We rushing home, and I'm on the phone with those guys. They get the ball rolling, like I said, and they force entry into the home.
They wouldn't let us go in. They marked it. They weren't sure what happened, so they wouldn't let anybody in. And we waited outside, but then we're like, okay. They sent Jaden's dad in, and he had passed away. So they took him to the coroner's office.
Yeah, it was a crime scene.
It was a crime scene until then, yeah.
So
And then they cleared it. But
So this was Jaden's biological father.
Correct.
He declined to be here today.
Right.
So he actually went in and
Yes.
found him.
They
And
asked-
that
they-
must have been really devastating.
I can't even imagine, to find your son like that. He passed away from one pill that we believe he thought he was taking a Xanax pill, and it was fentanyl, 100% fentanyl.
With the toxicology report,
Mm-hmm.
you found out how much fentanyl, right?
It was 9.2 nanograms.
Wow.
Yeah, 9.2, and there was nothing else in his system. No marijuana, no alcohol. It was 100% fentanyl.
So that tiny amount killed him.
Yes.
And Sherrod, I wanted to ask you, as a firefighter, I mean, how many fentanyl overdoses do you see now?
all the time.
Yeah.
We Narcaning people at least once a tour.
It doesn't work if you're not doing opiates. So opiates are primarily what fentanyl's in.
Once we administer Narcan, it kind of brings them back. It stops the effect of the drug,
Okay.
and they kind of come back because they're not breathing, but their heart still beating. Hit it with Narcan, and then they kind of
It makes them start breathing again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come back up out of it. Sometimes they come out of it with one Narcan. Sometimes they take 4.
And it can be administered through the nose or as a shot.
That's IV. Yeah.
It's ironic that here you are saving lives, and then
Yeah.
you had this situation happen to you.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. You know, for me not to be able to do anything, you know,
Yeah.
even if I was home, I wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Right.
It's tough.
People who are thinking about taking this, they need to know that one pill with that tiny amount,
Can kill you. Yeah.
at that point, is that the first time you knew he was taking fentanyl?
I didn't understand that fentanyl was in the pills. I didn't understand that people were selling pills with fentanyl in them. I had no idea.
As a fireman, you know, I knew about fentanyl, but we had no clue at the time that that the pills were being pressed. This is so now everybody knows that fentanyl is being pressed in pills. They lacing marijuana with fentanyl, but at the time we had no clue that the pills that he was taking had fentanyl in it because it was still kind of taboo. It was still kind of new to the game, but
So this was the first time you knew.
Right.
That's the whole point we're trying to get across here, is saying I'm not going to do fentanyl is not going to be the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
These other drugs, these other pills could be laced with it.
And you just don't know.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's because the drug dealers want people to get more addicted, correct?
it's just like when we grew up with the crack cocaine or whatever, you know. The higher you can get a person for less money, then you got repeat customers. You know, you put a little bit of this in it, a little bit of that in it, a little bit of this in it, and you know you don't know what's gonna happen to you.
Do you know where he got the pill?
The person who gave the pill to him was a friend,
Okay.
and I don't know where his friend got it. And to be quite honest with you, I think his friend was struggling with addiction, and I don't think he would ever have purposely done anything to hurt Jaden. I think it was an unfortunate accident.
And you had told me a great thing that your son had said about drugs.
He said, society is to blame for making drugs seem normal, fun, and cool. It is not normal, fun, or cool, and it's a lifestyle that doesn't last long or end well. And he was really hurt. He's really hurt. He was crushed. He's right. I think our society just kind of makes it look like it's this fun, you know, rap music, movies, Hollywood. This is fun. It's great. And it might be fun and great for a minute, but when you get yourself in a situation that you're hooked, I mean, it's not fun anymore.
But parents need to familiarize themselves, because if they see social media and they see all these street names, they may think Molly's their friend.
Right.
Or, I mean, pop culture now, I mean, you know, we've got the Euphoria show about drugs, and every song mentions some drug. Kids today, I mean, they're just bombarded with drugs.
It makes it seem like it's cool. I remember after Jaden passed away, I was listening to his playlist on his phone, and some of the songs that were on there, it was almost like Molly makes me feel better.
They said if I got drunk,
What if I did coke?
I'd be one of the guys.
They said meth would help me get through my exams.
They said sniffing glue was no big deal.
Totally safe.
I could party all night.
They said heroin would be the best high I ever had.
It would help me forget my problems.
He said he'd love me forever if I smoked crack with him.
They said I wouldn't get hooked after the first hit.
They said that Ritalin would help me focus.
They said weed wouldn't lead to harder drugs.
They lied.
They lied.
They lied.
He lied. Find out the truth about drugs.
Drugfreeworld.org.
Drugfreeworld.org.
Just so everyone knows, he is right here. His ashes, his remains are with us.
Yeah.
And I like what you're doing to help your kids. I know you'd mentioned the necklaces that you had made or you purchased for them. And
I did. I got each of them a necklace, and we put Jaden's ashes in it. So they each have their own necklace. They got to pick it out which one they wanted, and they wear it faithfully. So
that's
we
so
each
sweet.
have a piece of them.
We just want everybody to see the reality.
Yeah.
This is a serious, serious thing. Right now, how is your family?
We're hanging in there. You know, we the younger kids went to Kindermorn, which is a grief therapy nonprofit. I was like, go as long as you need to go. My oldest son, my 27-year-old, even went, and he went for a while.
How has your family coped since Jaden has passed?
Jaden had a passion for real estate, and we had actually talked about opening a real estate firm, and it just kind of put a fire under us to get it done. And he liked tattoos, and he had a sleeve, and he wanted to add to his tattoo art, and it was an owl. So we decided to use the owl as our logo.
Mm-hmm.
Friends and family found out about it, and I have this huge collection of owls all over our house. He calls me the owl lady. Like when we see it, it represents Jaden. We have a digital frame that we keep that's all pictures of Jaden and by his urn.
Mm-hmm.
And Seven was looking at the pictures and then moving them. And I went over there and I was talking to him and I said, who's that? He said, it's JJ. He knows who Jaden is. Yeah. We do family pictures with his urn. You know, I mean, we try to keep his spirit alive. I made cutouts of Jaden so that I could take him when I go to schools. We set a place for him at Thanksgiving and put his cutout there. And I mean, it's silly, but
it's great.
Yeah, it's important to us.
So Jennifer, what are you doing moving forward? Like, what are your plans for activism?
I was able to go to a Catholic school and talk there. It was a lot of students and parents. My goal is to get in schools. My goal is to really get in anywhere. Where people will listen and where I have a platform, I'll be there.
I do know one thing, that you're representing my son. You people out here that are in recovery are representing my son. You're doing what my son couldn't. I just want you to know that I believe in you. I don't know who y'all are, and it doesn't matter, but I believe in you, and I know you got it in you to stay clean. Jaden doesn't want to be in that box. That's not ever what he wanted, ever in a million years.
You had mentioned he's missing out on a lot of events and family events, and I know that's devastating not to have him there.
The prom, I know, was especially sad because I know Janae, that's my daughter, she knew he would have been there. And so for her, it was...
So they were really close?
They were close, yeah. And it was hard for her, yeah.
And you had mentioned to me she'd gotten a tattoo.
She did. She got a tattoo with his birthday on her shoulder.
How has she coped with losing Jaden?
She's really the quiet one. So you never quite know what's going on in her head. She doesn't really verbalize it, but I know she spoke with me actually at the Catholic school. It surprised me. She stood up and started talking about, and she cried. About how hard it was. Because he should be here. There's no reason why he should be gone.
So with Jaden passing away on Valentine's Day, I mean, does that change your perspective of Valentine's Day? I mean, I know you guys normally celebrate.
It puts a special twist on Valentine's Day for sure. I think I said this when he passed, and I was like, this is typical Jaden. This is the day that he would have chosen if he was going to choose a day. And I'm not mad about it. It didn't ruin Valentine's Day for me. It actually made it a little special, a little bit more special. Of course, we miss him. It's a sad day, but he was loved.
Well, thank you guys for being here and letting others hear your story, because it's so important to share, because it may save someone else's life.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing more upsetting than getting a phone call that your child's dead. So
yes,
that's more important to me to share the story and save somebody's life than
if his passing at least just saved one family, so they don't have to endure the things that we endure.
This drug took somebody away that was so important People have to hear you. They have to understand this is devastating. I hope someone is out there and hears this and says, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this to my family.
Since I posted about testing the pills, a lot of people come forward talking about how they lost people. Bro, I'm gonna be real with y'all. If you selling some fentanyl press pills, bro, you should be ashamed of yourself, bro. You all are out here killing people.